Okay, so, you know, in amateur racing, pro racing, sometimes you don't have the best pick or the first pick. So the best thing to do when you're coming up to the start line is making sure that your line on the gate is, one, has as much traction, two, isn't a bunch of mud. The third thing is making sure behind the gate, that is a straight line too, a good line. Sometimes you might have a better gate, but the line off the gate isn't as good. So I would pick maybe not as good gate because the line is better over here, okay? So, and the biggest thing is to make sure that you prepare your gate the best you possibly can. Don't just come up here and rush it and half-ass it and wonder why you didn't get a good start and then blame the bike and blame everybody else when it was your laziness that didn't prepare your gate right. Again, you got to take pride in getting your gate prepped, and it's almost getting yourself into that mode, into that mindset of ready for a good start. So when I come up to a gate and I pick it, well, one thing is I don't want a bunch of dirt in the bottom because then I'm just going to spin, okay? You don't want to fill your gate in with a bunch of dirt if it's kind of powder. If it's clay and you can pack it down, then okay. But you don't want to just fill it in with a bunch of sand or a bunch of fluff because you're just going to spin all the time. What I like to do is make sure I get all the dirt out from behind my wheel, and then I want to make my rut here as wide as I possibly can, so then I have a lot of surface and I'm not in this teeny little rut and getting sideways, okay? So I'll kick the sides down like this, all the way down the side here, just to get a little bit more room for that back wheel, and so I don't have this edge to worry about. Then again, both sides. And this kind of sometimes is a little bit of a warm-up too, getting ready for your race, is kicking your gate, kicking this dirt, packing it down, getting your heart rate up a little bit, getting a little sweat going. Very, very important to make sure that this line off the gate is as best as you can make it, okay? And when you get to the pros, these mechanics will sit out here with a damn toothbrush to make it good. So it'll tell you how important it is. And now, as you see, my rut here is now big enough for a three-wheeler. But now I don't have to worry about being in this perfect little rut. And I'm getting down to this nice dirt right here, as you see. Because remember, their start is half your race. So if you mess up this, then you screw up this start straight. So start and pay attention to the first point. The first point is getting off that gate good. And to get off the gate good, you got to have a good starting spot. So don't be lazy. And if you're lazy, then don't complain. I'll pack it down a little bit. Make sure there's no softness in here. Look for rocks in there. And again, all this is getting that mind ready. It's getting into that mode, almost a meditation, to get that focus in here. I'm getting ready to go to battle. I'm getting ready to fight. So this is getting myself into that mode, trying to take out all these people beside me. Not trying to concentrate on this number or that guy's name, or am I going to get a bad start? Am I going to get a good start? Am I going to crash in the first turn? No. All that doesn't matter. What matters is how I get off this gate. And the other thing too is trying to get this gate to drop as low as you possibly can. So I like to make sure I take all this dirt out here, and when it falls, it's falling on this metal piece here and not on a piece of dirt up here and keeping it a little bit high off the ground. And in between the gate, you can fill this in with dirt. Fill that in with dirt. So there's no gap, there's no bump, there's nothing that's going to throw you off your rhythm, off your balance. Here, this is like sometimes the most important part here, is getting a nice ramp, because sometimes these ruts get very deep. So you want to have a nice ramp. You don't want to have it steep, you want to have it nice and gradual. But make sure that it's not too soft or anything. You want to have a nice little ski ramp here, so you're not doing a big wheelie. You can take a little bit of dirt here and slowly put it down there, okay? But when you have these ruts that are so deep, sometimes it's hard to make a ramp that good without making it too steep, okay? So probably use a little bit more dirt right here. Try to get some good dirt that's not too dry. As you see, I'm making nice, smooth, gradual up ramps so that I'm not doing a big wheelie coming out of this gate. Okay, then when I'm done here, I'll take a step back, look at it, and make sure there's nothing that I'm missing. For me, I'm looking at this now, and the left side's up a little bit. Okay, well, I have to come over here and adjust that, all right? Because I don't want to come off the line any bit sideways. Okay, as you see, when I rolled my bike up here, let's say I was the second gate or a race just took off, you see how much dirt is piled up back here. Well, now my bike is almost against the gate right here, so if I make any movement, you know, I'll bring my bike back a little bit, but that's as far as it'll go. If I make any movement, I'm against the gate, and I see this all the time in the lower classes, that people getting stuck against the gate because their bike is too close to. Okay, now my bike's in the line that I prepared. And first off, you see the line that I have is wider. Okay, if I make this line wider, well, then I can adjust my bike because maybe the line is a little bit crooked or off center because of people that have been in the gate before. So I can move my bike a little bit side to side, whatever I have to do to line up for that line past the gate. The other thing you see is how far my bike is away from the gate. So I can kind of move forward a little bit and I can see the gate a little bit better if I'm back a tad, not up on it. And again, if you look at this line here, how much of an abrupt takeoff it is to get over that gate right there. And the line I prepared is nice and smooth. There's no bump right there that's going to throw me backwards, going to throw the front wheel up, or going to kick the back end up to lose traction. My line is consistent, like my approach is going to be consistent. Smooth gas, smooth clutch, smooth body movement, all one motion. Okay, as I sit here getting ready for my start, I need to think about three of the most important things. One is I need my line to be straight as possible. Two, I need to make sure I get traction in the rear end. Three, I need to keep this front end down from wheeling. So how do I get this to go straight? Well, I keep my legs as tight as I can, as close to the bike as I can in front of the foot pegs. If I keep my bike tight, well, that means the bike won't go side to side. If I went side to side like this down the straightaway and I measured it, I just made that start line longer. Okay? So gripping on tight will keep you having a straight line. Two, if I keep my feet in front of my foot pegs, those are kind of like hooks and they won't let me slide back. You never want to take your feet and do this. Now you're just, the bike's in control of you. You want to keep those legs straight. Okay, the second thing, how do I get weight to my rear end? It's not by doing this. If I do this on a 4-stroke, you can guarantee I'm going to wheelie. And if I wheelie, then I got to pull the clutch in and twist the gas off. So I need to unlock my hips and put weight to that rear end. If I unlock my hips and put weight to that rear end, now I'm getting traction on that back wheel. If I unlock my hips to put weight on that back end, I'm also activating my core and making my core stabilize myself when this bike leaps off the start line. And when you get on a 450 and one of those modified 250Fs, well, you better be ready to handle that bike leaping out of the start. Okay? Now, one, we're stabilizing the bike with our legs. Two, we're putting weight to the rear end. Three, we're stabilizing it with our core, and by doing that, we're also putting weight on that front end to keep the front end down. So these three things are the most important thing for off a start, is to make sure straight line, traction, and keeping that weight down. And you can do all three by doing two things. Stabilizing with your legs and unlocking your hips. That's it. When that guy goes into the box, I shift up my gear, I grip on with my legs, I unlock my hips, and my chest is coming up, so I'm putting weight on the back end, I'm putting weight on the front end, and I'm keeping that bike as best as I can to go in a straight line. Okay, and another thing too is instead of taking off and looking down, try to take off and look up. And what I've noticed is I get a lot straighter shot to the first turn when I look up, and I'm not going to side as much. So here we go. Feet are tight, hips are out, chest is up. go. Feet are tight, hips are out. I'm ready. I'm waiting for that gate. Waiting for that gate. Okay, now we're looking at my hands and what they're doing, all right? I have my hands twisted out, not turned in like this. Twisted out so my elbows are out, so this guy, I can elbow him and elbow him if I have to. And again, now I'll have more control this way too instead of being here, okay? I use one finger. Some people use two. I use one. I only need to control one finger, not a whole hand, okay? We're not that uncoordinated. I put a little bit of pressure on my front brake to put a little bit of weight on it, okay? So here we go. I'm ready. My hands are out, feet. Here we go. We're watching the gate.